How a hunter obtained money from his friends, the leopard, the goat, the bush cat, and the rooster, and how he got out of repaying them. Many years ago, there was a Calabar hunter named Efyong who lived in the bush and killed plenty of animals. This made him much money. Everyone in the country knew him, and one of his friends was a man called Okun. Efyong was a very extravagant man and spent much money in eating and drinking with everyone, until at last he became quite poor, so he had to go out hunting again. But now his good luck seemed to have ran out, for although he worked hard, hunting day and night, he could not succeed in killing anything. One day, as he was very hungry, he went to his friend Okun and borrowed 200 rods from him, and told him to come to his house on a certain day to get his money, and he told him to bring his gun loaded with him. Now, some time before this, Efyong had made friends with a leopard, a bush cat, whom he had met in the forest while on one of his hunting expeditions. He had also made friends with a goat and a rooster at a farm where he had stayed for a couple of nights. But though Efyong had borrowed the money from Okun, he could not think how he was to repay it on the day he had promised. At last, however, he came up with a plan, and on the next day he went to his friend the leopard and asked him to lend him 200 rods, promising to return them out to him on the same day he had promised to pay Okun, and he also told the leopard that if he were absent when he came for his money, he could kill anything he saw in the house and eat it. The leopard was then to wait until the hunter arrived, when he would pay him the money, and this the leopard agreed. The hunter then went to his friend the goat and borrowed 200 rods from him in the same way. Efyong also went to his friends the bush cat and the rooster and borrowed 200 rods from each of them on the same conditions, and told each of them that if he were absent when they arrived, they could kill and eat anything they found about the place. When the appointed day arrived, the hunter spread some corn on the ground and then went away and left the house deserted. Very early in the morning, soon after he had begun to crow, the rooster remembered what the hunter had told him and walked over to the hunter's house, but found no one there. On looking around, however, he saw some corn on the ground, and being hungry, he proceeded to eat. About this time, the bush cat also arrived, and not finding the hunter at home, he too looked about and very soon spotted the rooster, who was busy picking up the grains of corn. So the bush cat went up very softly behind and pounced on the rooster, killing him at once, and began to eat him. By this time, the goat had come for his money, but not finding his friend, he walked about until he came upon the bush cat, who was so concerned with his meal of the rooster that he did not notice the goat approaching him, and the goat, being in a rather bad temper at not getting his money, at once charged at the bush cat and knocked him over. This the bush cat did not like at all, so being that he was not big enough to fight the goat, he picked up the remains of the rooster and ran off into the bush, and so lost out on his money, as he did not await the arrival of the hunter. The goat was therefore left as master of the situation and started celebrating. The noise of the celebration attracted the attention of the leopard, who was on his way to receive payment from the hunter. As he got nearer, the smell of the goat became very strong, and being hungry, for he had not eaten anything for some time, he approached the goat very carefully. Not seeing anyone about, he stalked the goat and got nearer and nearer until he was within springing distance. Suddenly, the leopard sprang at the goat and with one crunch at the net brought him down. It was now 8 o'clock in the morning, and Okun, the hunter's friend, having had his early morning meal, went out with his gun to receive his payment. When he got close to the house, he heard a crunching sound, and being a hunter himself, he approached with much caution and looked over the fence and saw the leopard only a few yards off, eating the goat. He took careful aim at the leopard and fired. The leopard rolled over, dead. The death of the leopard meant 4 of the hunter's creditors were now disposed of, as the bush cat had killed the rooster, the goat had driven the bush cat away, and in turn the goat had been killed by the leopard, who had just been killed by Okun. This meant a saving of 800 rods to Efyong, but he was not content with this. and directly he heard the report of the gun, he ran out from where he had been hiding all the time and found the leopard lying dead with Okun standing over it. Then, in very strong language, Effiong began to upbraid his friend and asked him why he had killed his old friend the leopard, that nothing would satisfy him but he should report the whole matter to the king, who would no doubt deal with him as he thought fit. When Effiong said this to Okun, he was frightened and begged him not to say anything more about the matter, as the king would be angry, but the hunter was persistent and refused to listen to him, and at last Okun said, "If you will allow the whole thing to drop and will say no more about it, I will make you a present of the 200 rods you borrowed from me." This was just what Effiong wanted, but still he did not give in, and at once. Eventually, however, he agreed and told Okun he might go, that he would bury the body of his friend the leopard. Directly Okun had gone, instead of burying the body, Effiong dragged it inside the house and skinned it very carefully. The skin he put out to dry in the sun and covered it with wood ash, and the body he ate. When the skin was well cured, the hunter took it to a distant market, where he sold it for much money. And now whenever a bush cat sees a rooster, he always kills it and does so by right, and he takes the rooster in part payment of the 200 rods which the hunter never paid him.